The zettlekasten will revolutionize the way you learn. I've just started implementing it and I'm so excited with the results, and I can't wait for you guys to get on board as well. In this video, I'll share with you what the zettlekasten method is, why it's so effective as a note-taking system for your English or literature or literally any subject where you have to learn a lot of information, and then I'll show you how I've built my own zettlekasten. If you're new here, I'm Lisa, and each week I release easy to understand but effective strategies to help you boost your marks in your English and literature studies. If you're interested in doing that, then make sure you subscribe by hitting that button below and the notification button as well. We're going to be covering a lot in this video, so I've got timestamps for you so that you can skip ahead if you wanted to. Is zettlekasten just another productivity trend? Niklas Luhmann, the inventor of the zettlekasten method, wrote over 70 books and more than 400 scholarly articles using the zettlekasten note-taking method. This means he was incredibly prolific and productive. Considering how he didn't use computers, only pen, paper, and typewriter, it's crazy to think how impressive he was at the time. While Luhmann was crazy prolific and didn't need online support, imagine how much productivity a regular person like you and I would gain just by leveraging online apps with the zettlekasten method. So is this zettlekasten just another productivity phase? I don't think so, because it's not about how you're learning, it's how the zettlekasten is designed that facilitates you to think in a particular type of way. It actually helps you learn better because the zettlekasten will help you think in particular ways that you wouldn't normally get with traditional note-taking methods. The amazing thing about the zettlekasten is that it's like an investment. The more you spend on your zettlekasten and spend building it up, the more of an effective study tool it will be for you. More on this in just a little bit. Let's talk about the problem with note-taking systems. At first we had paper notebooks. When we write in a paper notebook, everything is set up in chronological order. You move from one page to the next, and sometimes you forget what you've written previously and where you wrote it, which forces you to flick back and forth in your book looking for one piece of information you can't quite remember. The danger with linear note-taking is that the information can start to deteriorate. What you wrote down 11 months ago might not feel important anymore, and because it's not front of mind, you're less likely to go back to old notes, even if there are gems in there. And again, that's if you can even remember that there's a gold nugget of information on page 3, second paragraph, 6 sentences in. Then we started to move online, using apps like Evernote or Notion. Easy. You can just control find for that idea 11 months ago, right? Sure you can. But the issue with Evernote, and depending on how you use Notion, is that your collection of knowledge can get out of hand, especially if you're not diligent about your organization. And it can be tough for most of us. With apps, there's a tendency to collect heaps of information without ever doing anything useful with it. You might feel like you're learning a lot, but really you're just stuffing information into your app with hopes that it'll be used one day. Even then, if you're organized, a similar problem exists where information is still siloed into pages. You still have to flick between pages for your study and get frustrated trying to find that golden nugget of information amongst all of your content. To be an effective student, you not only want to retain the information you've previously learned, you want to learn new ideas and concepts better. The problem with all these note-taking systems is that it adopts a rigid structure which doesn't reflect the way the brain works. Our brain doesn't think necessarily always in a linear type of way, nor does it section off information in pages. We build knowledge with our neurons firing and connecting new pieces of information to things we already know, and these connections are made spontaneously and at random. Enter the zettlekasten, a knowledge database that resembles the way you think. Zettel is note and kasten means box. Imagine if you rip up your notebook or break apart your pages online into small post-it notes, where each post-it contains only one atomic idea. Each of these notes is a zettel, and lots of the notes stored together turns into a zettlekasten. Here's where the zettlekasten really shows its power. Imagine as you study, you can move your notes around to help you see connections between different ideas. maybe then you'll realize, oh wow, this old note from 11 months ago is actually connected with what I've just written today. And suddenly you've built a connection that you would have otherwise missed. Let me show you my zettlekasten now. Rather than carrying out thousands of note cards, for me, I think it's more effective to use an online tool. There are heaps out there like Zetla, RemNote, Obsidian, Evernote, Notion, depending on how you use it, and Roam. All of these I believe are free except for Roam, which is what I use. You can get a free trial on it, but afterwards you have to pay. But what I'll show you in the Roam app is something that you can take away for whichever app you want to use. Let's go into a book that I've been learning for one of my students. So he's studying The French Lieutenant's Wife. The amazing thing with these online apps is that it builds those connections between your neurons online via something called bi-directional linking. So let me show you how this is done in action. Each one of these are hyperlinked. If I show you summary, you'll see how I've written up a summary of the text. But as I've written up the summary, I've actually hyperlinked to several different things. So each chapter represents one page. And you'll see if I hold shift and click chapter 1, it'll pop up on the side. So instantly I'm able to see all the pieces of information I want right next to each other. They're present right there rather than flicking through a book and trying to find chapter 1 over here and then moving on to find chapter 2. So let's say if I wanted to click on chapter 2, there it is. Let's say if we clicked on Ernestina, who's one of the characters. What makes Roam and bi-directional linking really powerful? Linked references. Anytime I've actually mentioned Ernestina elsewhere throughout my notes on The French Lieutenant's Wife, it comes up here as linked references. So I've mentioned her once in characters. So if I go into characters, there she is right there. And I can click into her again and we head back to the same page. Then I've mentioned her in summary, which I've already shown you, but I've also mentioned her in my quote section as well. So I can click on Ernestina and find her through multiple ways. I can find her through characters, I can find her through summary, I can find her through notes. And depending on where I'm finding her, it helps me look at her from a different lens, from a different angle. And this is what happens in your brain. Your brain doesn't always think of Ernestina in the exact same way. As you build out your knowledge, you learn a little bit more about her through reading the book and getting more in your summary. As you find more quotes about her, you're constantly building up this knowledge bank about Ernestina, and it's all here for you in the one place, rather than separated in lots of different notes, lots of different pages. It's all here, and depending on what you want, it's a really efficient way of getting that information quickly. To do these hyperlinks in Roam, all you need to do is just do 2 square brackets and you can create a page. So let's say if I wanted to create a new page and the page was based on literary techniques. I press enter and it becomes a new page. You see that I've got a linked reference from where it's been mentioned in the main French Lieutenant's Wife page. Let's say if you were starting a fresh day and you couldn't be bothered finding the French Lieutenant's Wife. Let's pretend it's not in the shortcuts, but you studied it like 6 months ago and now you have to come back and study it and revise it because of your exams. All you need to do is start typing in the French and you can see that it's going to pop up. So you can just click it, enter, and then head straight in. I think the zettlekasten will completely change the way that many students study, and only for the best as well. It's a part of this idea of building a second brain, which if you're interested in me talking about, then make sure you leave a comment for me and feel free to ask me any questions you have. I'm more than happy to answer you. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.